Hello, everyone. Welcome to another episode of TCC Talk. I didn't think I'd ever be doing this video again, but we're going to be talking about a Bonds of Ancestry Katsu list. Kind of give my thoughts on where my initial kind of build is and just have some fun with it. It is late at night. I'm on a night shift schedule, so I am the only one awake in my house. So if I talk a little bit softly this video, turn me up. I apologize. Normally I would not be this quiet, but I'm trying to be respectful. So definitely feel free to turn me up. But I didn't think we'd ever do this. Bonds of Ancestry got unbanned in the most recent ban restricted announcement last night, and I've been playing the deck all night because I'm up anyway. Why not? And I've been trying to figure out a good, decent starting point build for you all. Kind of give you some things to think about, some play lines to think about, because the one big difference with this deck now, as opposed to last time Bonds was in the format, is we don't have Art of War, but we do have Retrace the Past. So the deck, the play lines and like the natural flow of the deck kind of change a little bit. So it's very interesting to see what's going to be for this deck in the future. My overall TLDR, if you want something very upfront, I do think the deck will be competitive. Will it be a top deck? Probably not. I think it will be like in the high B range, but a very, very skilled pilot that knows how to play and gets pretty good matchups could do very well. So we'll get right into it. We'll talk about it. And then I'll show you a play line example of Retrace the Past that I think can kind of get the gears spinning, so to speak, on how to best utilize the card other than the obvious of just playing it after a gust wave and continuing your chain. So when it comes to the equipment, we'll talk about main board and sideboard. Right now, I am main boarding Lynx. I am forcing myself to do this because I do think the Lynx plan is pretty strong. Being able to Katsu trigger and go get like a Bonds or a key piece, but also Lynx trigger and go get a Retrace to Pass, basically allowing you to have a full combo line without naturally having it. You might only have one or two pieces of the full like 4 to 5 combo line, and Lynx allows you to connect that missing piece, whereas Mask of Momentum would not. However, Bonds of Ancestry does make Mask of Momentum stronger. Being able to go an extra chain link when you're comboing like unconditionally can help you be able to pressure that mask a little bit more. So it all depends on what you want to do. I am the biggest Mask of Momentum stand in the world, so when I tell you that I'm main boarding Lynx, you know it's for a reason. I probably will end up going back to Mask of Momentum, we shall see, but I'm going back and forth. But for right now, the general consensus is if you're playing a deck that doesn't like the block, Mask of Momentum is still probably better, I think. If you're playing like a Florian, a Verdance, a Guardian, trying to think of who's at the top of the meta, something like that, then you would ran like Mask of Pouncing Lynx, so to speak. But it all depends. I think there's going to be some testing, some ideation on is the Lynx value just better on a big combo turn. I've already hit 30 plus on a couple of combo turns with Lynx, so it's been really good. When it comes to the chess piece, my default chess piece is Heart and Cross Strap. There's a lot of discussion around Heart and Cross Strap, and anyone who's been following my channel for a long time knows I've talked about this card ad nauseum when it comes to, there's a lot of general consent. And this, by the way, this video is going to be a little bit more in depth, so we might be here a minute. So sorry about that. Hopefully you enjoy it. A lot of people just have the general consensus of run Heart and Cross Strap in the aggro matchups, and then we run Tunic, or if you want to run Blood Spattered Vest now, you can. I just run Tunic in the slower matchups. And the general consensus is correct on that. However, I think there are certain matchups, and this is a me thing. I'm not saying this is like gospel. This is just how I prefer to play the deck. Heart and Cross Strap allows you to keep tempo in matchups that may not be aggro based, but they are matchups that you don't want to lose. You don't want to give your opponent space, so to speak. So an old matchup I used to run Heart and Cross Trap into that a lot of people ran Tunic into was Bravo, because I never wanted to give Bravo a full 5-card hand. I never wanted to like be hitting Bravo and trying to push past his defenses and like putting him on the back foot, and then I draw up into a Surging Strike, Whelming Gust, or Surging Strike red, Whelming Gust Wave red, 100 Winds red, and I don't know. At this point, it'd be like Descendant or something, right? Or a 0 cost, whatever the case may be, right? Maybe like a Be Like Water. And then all of a sudden you're like, well, crap. If I had a way to play the Surging Strike out right now, I could keep tempo, and I actually have a natural combo line, but I can't do it because everything's red. And if then you Kadachi and then swing your Be Like Water or something to try to force one card out of their hand, and then they hit you with a Crippling Crush or like a Spinal Crush because you gave them that tempo. Another matchup that is more relevant now that I think is similar is Assassin. I don't want to give Assassin space. Assassin can kind of draw like dud hands. It's possible. But generally, when you give Assassin the room to work as an aggro deck, it's really, really going to hurt you. So I will run Heart and Cross Trap in the Assassin matchups, even though it's not necessarily a fast matchup all the time, because I want to be able to not stumble. And if I draw those dread 4 red hands, I want to be able to convert that effectively. However, as a general consensus, and since this is going to be a public list, I would say definitely feel free to run Tunic in what you deem as the slower matchups and Heart and Cross Trap into what you deem is the faster matchups, if that makes sense. Kadachis are Kadachis. I won't go over those. Those are pretty simple. Breaking Scales, the most forgotten about equipment in the history of Flesh and Blood, in my opinion. People always forget about this +1 ability. The one piece of advice I would give of Breaking Scales is know when to hold it and know when to fold it, so to speak. There are certain matchups where I will be extremely aggressive with this card, right? If I'm playing it against a Syndra and the life totals are 30 to 27 and Breaking Scales could possibly be the difference between, even if they're trying to force me to use it early, I'll just use it early because that Breaking Scales might net me a draw and might net me a Katsu trigger. That 1 point of damage might actually net me 8 damage that turn because I might Katsu trigger into Bonds of Ancestry or whatever. So definitely know when to use it aggressively and not feel bad about it, and when to hold it, right? Sometimes you have to be forced to hold it against these like more fatigue decks and force them to overblock you or force them to respect you. And sometimes what they'll do is just the way they block, I can't give you a specific thought off the top of my head right now, but you can tell when blocky decks are blocking a certain way to where you know they have a defense reaction. And what Breaking Scales can do is it can force them to just keep blocking inefficiently because they're trying to bait out your Breaking Scales and you're trying to hold it. So there's that. Then Breeze Under Boots. This is just the better, unless you're on the even bigger than that plan, which I am not. So if you are on that, Snaps makes complete sense. But if you're not, Breeze Under Boots, I think is just better. It allows you to have some weird, like get out of jail free cards with some certain lines. Sometimes your opponent, especially in fast matchups, doesn't want to block you. Like you might have a weird line where it's like, I'm gonna try to think of the top of my head. A blue Fluster Fist, underwhelming Gust Wave, as I call it, right? Let's say you have Whelming Gust Wave and I don't know, another non-go again or something like Retrace the Past or something like that, right? Like you're able to Kadachi, underwhelming Gust Wave, and your opponent is like, I could block this, and I know they have Breeze Our Boots up, but I'm an aggro deck, and I don't want to block. Screw it, I'm not blocking. And then all of a sudden maybe it's not Retrace the Past, maybe it was like a Lord of Wind, right? You pop Breeze Our Boots, discard Lord of Wind, go get Bonds of Ancestry, then you play Bonds of Ancestry, discarding another Bonds of Ancestry, then you play your Whelming, it has go again because of Breeze Our Boots, and you play another Bonds of Ancestry, then you get Flush of Fist, right? So like you see how it could bail you out in some weird spots. So I think Breeze Our Boots is good for that, and the one block is nice, right? So that's the main board equipment. Sideboard, obviously, Mask Momentum. I have AB3 in here because I'm respecting Kano. We have very good Kano players in my area. I have to run AB3. The sideboard is what you make it. Run whatever, copy this list and run whatever sideboard you want. This is how I am deeming it based off my meta and my preferences. And then we're running Tunic for like really slower matchups or matchups where we really need that 1 point of value. Tunic's very good in a Jarl if he doesn't kill it. Most of the time he's not trying to focus on Tunic. He's trying to focus on like Mask Momentum or Mask of Pouncing Links. So you're able to like respond to his Stalagmite by activating Tunic if you don't already have a Frostbite or taxing effect, and then you can basically nullify the Stalagmite tax. It's really, really nice. Similar to how you used to do with Icelander in terms of like nullifying that one Frostbite on your turn. So there's that. Then we have the main board. So we'll talk about what has stayed the same, and then we'll talk about the differences. What has stayed the same is we obviously have Ancestral Empowerment. Card's good. Nothing crazy here, right? Be Like Water is the same. A lot of people don't like this card, but because of starter density and threat density, we just need this card in the deck. It might not always hit. It might almost never hit, but it's a threat that our opponent has to respect. And it's when it comes to this deck, one thing you have to do with Art of War gone, on top of you utilize your ancestral empowerments and raise your reflexes and ancestral harmonies very effectively, is you need to create feints, if you know what that means, like a feint line, right? Like a you need to distract your opponent with a threatening chain link 1 or a non-assuming chain link 1 to then go into something on chain link 2 and 3. So for example, it's a very simple one. It's nothing like world ending, but let's say I have a blue surging strike, be like water. It doesn't have to be a blue whelming, but just a blue, a surging strike, a be like water, and a whelming gust wave. You could go ahead and go surging strike into whelming gust wave and then hope one of them hits or they don't respect it, and then try to discard the be like water for a bonds. That's very possible, right? What you also could do is play be like water first, because they're like, oh, well, he's playing that chain link 1. He's trying to get it to hit. Maybe it's his only starter, or maybe he has an ancestral empowerment and he's trying to pull one on me. So maybe they de-react be like water just to be safe, or they block 4, or maybe they just roll the dice and block 3. And you're like, okay, you just gave me a card from hand. Maybe they even gave you a de-react, which is even better to try to play around ancestral empowerment. And then all of a sudden you say, okay, now I'm going to do Surging Strike into Whelming. And they don't even know Whelming's coming yet. So then you do Surging Strike anyway, and now they're like, oh, crap. Maybe they really want to be blocky, and they block with 2 cards, and then you play Whelming Gust Wave. Now, they might have taken their whole hand, you might have not, but the general concept I'm trying to say is you can use Be Like Water as a threatening opener to then go into something more punishing later in the chain. Like, imagine now if your arsenal is McGinty, right? You could just play the full line out, or you could start with Be Like Water, force a card out of their hand, and then play Surging into Whelming into McGinty, and by the time you get to McGinty, because they're trying to stop your natural line, potentially it could hit, and then you cycle stuff back in with Lord Wind. That's how you get those cycles back in the deck. So Be Like Water acts as that, as like a Chain Link 1 feint, or Chain Link 2 feint. 100 Winds does the same thing. Spinning Wheel Kick does the same thing as well. These are Chain Link 1 and 2 attacks that when you don't have the natural combo line, or when you do, you can use them to punish your opponent for trying to just block you out or over-respecting your attacks. So that's kind of where that's at. Bonds of Ancestry is the same. Card's stupid. It's so good now, and now that we even have Gust Wave of the Second Wind, it becomes even more consistent, both with targets you can get with it and targets that come before it, because now we essentially have 3, 4, 7, 10, 13 cards in the deck that combo with Bonds of Ancestry, which is pretty nuts. Descendant Gust Wave, I am on 3 red and 1 yellow. I'm on the 1 yellow just for a little bit more Gust Wave density. It is very nice. We'll talk about the Retrace the Past line here in a second to kind of get your brain turning. But also the 1 yellow can have some application with Pouncing Links. When I pop Pouncing Links, I want to have some options. I have a yellow Whelming in the side. I don't have Tenacity in this deck. We'll talk about that here in a second. My normal targets are Descendant Gust Wave yellow, Whelming Gust Wave yellow, or Retrace the Past. That's typically what I'm going for. Fluster Fist, same as before. Most people are on either 5 or 6. I'm on 2 blues, 3 reds. We are on Gust Wave of the Second Wind. At the end of the day, it's another Fluster Fist in your deck that does couple with Surging Strike. It also has some application because now we have Retrace the Past, which allows you to like name Surging Strike and then go into this. Like you can have weird lines where even if you're out of bonds or you don't want to use your bonds yet, you do like Descendant Gust Wave, play Retrace the Past, name Surging Strike, play Gust Wave of the Second Wind, forego again, play something else. Like there's some weird, cool, quirky lines that you can do without having to actually have a Surging Strike in your hand with Retrace the Past. 100 Winds, I'm on 5 of them. It does for a couple reasons. One, again, nobody wants to block a 2-power yellow 100 Winds on Chain Link 1. They just don't. No one wants to do it. I don't know why. They just don't. It's one of the easiest cards to use on Chain Link 1 as an unassuming starter. Your opponent doesn't know what you have. Do they block out the 100 Winds? Maybe you don't have anything else. You know, you could have a hand where it's like Fluster Fist blue, 100 Winds red, Dishonor, and Winds of it, or 9 Winds turn. It's even better. Fine center. So 2 blues, a 100 Winds, and a Gust Wave. Right? You start with 100 Winds. If they don't block it, you go get another 100 Winds. If they do block it, you Kadachi Gust Wave, and then you arsenal like a good blue, like Retrace the Past or something like that, right? Or Dishonor. Dishonor is a decent arsenal target. Or if you do have a natural combo line, you can punish your opponent by playing these Chain Link 1 and then go get the missing piece if they don't respect it. If they do over-respect it, then you play your natural combo line anyway. Very similar to the discussion I made with Be Like Water. I am running one Razor Reflex. I'm going to change this up all the time. Like if I went to a call-in or if I was going to Nats and I put this video out, I probably would change the amount of Razor Reflexes in my deck so people can just look at this list and then know how many are left in my deck. I think you should have at least one. It changes how your opponent blocks. It does. They just have to account for it. If you don't have them in your deck, then it really makes you a lot more face up. I think it's worth having 1 or 2 in the deck. I would not ever go to 3. I would have 1 or 2. That's just my opinion. Spinning Wheel Kick, this is in the deck because it couples with Ancestral Harmony. It's a starter, and it acts as the same thing I told you about with Be Like Water and with 100 Winds. It's a good Chain Link 1 starter that gives your opponent very little information, especially if you're on Tunic and you do it off a Tunic counter. They don't know what you're going into, and it really puts them in a really bad spot. We are on 6 Surging Strikes, 6 Whelming Gust Waves. You could be on 7 if you're on a main. If you're on a links only plan, I would suggest putting the Whelming Gust Wave yellow in the main board at a 1 of. We are on 3 McGinty release. 2 things. One, on a sentimental value side, I will never play Katsu and not play this. I just won't. It's what made me fall in love with Katsu. This combo line is sick. On a competitive side, though, I think this line is needed. You don't have to run 3 McGinty if you don't want to. Sorry, I thought I heard something. I run 3 because I think it's very useful. There's a lot of blocky decks in this meta. There's a lot of fatigue-based decks in this meta. There's a lot of decks that play for late game, and they utilize their armor very well, and so on and so forth. So I want to have those McGinty's in the deck to try to cycle threats back in my deck. When you only have 2 McGinty's, it makes your first one, and when you use your first one, very hard, because if you use it too early, then if the second McGinty comes up at the wrong time where you need to block with it or pitch with it or whatever, it can make it very difficult. I don't want to use this McGinty right now because this is my last one and I need to cycle threats back in my deck. What having 3 McGinty's allows you to do is, in turns 3 through 5, if the game is going like 8 to 10 turns, you can use that McGinty very aggressively, right? Like if you no one wants to use the McGinty at a point in the game where you don't have a lot of targets for Lord of Wind, right? Like if my hand is a blue Surging Strike, Whelming Gust Wave, McGinty, but I only have like 1 target in grave, it sucks using that McGinty. But if you have 3, then it's a 1 for 5 go again. That then fetches, a blue to swing your Kodachis to end the turn, right? You'll have weird turns like that. So I think it's very useful to have in the deck. I would have it at least at a 2 of, personally. Maybe you put the third one in the sideboard for really, really fatigue matchups, but that's kind of where I'm at with that. Ancestral Harmony, I've been playing around with this at 2 and 3 of. I think you should at least have it as a 2 of. Since we do not have Art of War in the deck, sometimes we need to sculpt those natural combo lines. And when you can do that with an Ancestral Harmony and Arsenal, it just allows you to sometimes just steal the game. So I think it's good for that reason. Dishonor's back in the deck. Just good. Nothing crazy here. Find Center. This is an emotional pick for me. If you want to change this, make this the 3rd blue Flusterfist. By all means, I just like it because it has funny retrace the past application at times, and I've done it just to do it as a meme. So that's just it's just a me pick, right? Definitely switch it out if you want. Then we have Lord of Wind and Retrace the Past. We'll talk about Retrace the Past here in a second. I'll skip this one. Then we're on Winds of Eternity. We're on a 2 of since we are on 500 wins. If I was only on red 100 wins, I probably would go to a 1 of this. But because of that, again, this is a way to cycle threats back in your deck and punish your opponent for blocking early, and then playing this at the end of your 100 wins chain link and try to cycle threats back in deck. When it comes to sideboard, pretty simple. Flick flack, it's good. You can make this sink, you can make this shelter, whatever your preference is. I just like the flick flack synergy. There's going to be a lot of assassin in the meta, I think. Personally, I think losing Scepter of Pain and losing Germinate, we'll see how High Seas changes things, but I think Marionette's going to be in a pretty good spot. New's still going to be around for the first 2 weeks of Nationals. All I have to say, I think Waxon's pretty good to have right now. But you could side this out for something else you need. And then we have like our fatigue package. We have the 1 Whelming Gust Wave for our Links plan, and then also visit the Floating Dojo. I'll put this in against, if I know the deck is just trying to like run me out of threats and it's just all blocks, no gas, I'll put Dojo in. It allows me to go back and get my Retrace the Past. It's harder to get bonds with this card because you're banishing bonds to play bonds, so to speak, if you're trying to loop a little bit. But this does allow you to go get Retrace the Past. So all that to say, and I'm trying not to make this too much longer, I'll definitely go into more specific detail on certain things if y'all want me to. I'm also going to be doing a stream playing the deck. But this was a thing I put on Twitter. Now, this is solely just this is just me goldfishing, right? But I knew that if I goldfished for 2 minutes, I would find a line where I could show it on the video. That's how easy it is for this. So you can't read it over here because my text is out of line right now. But my hand. So this is just to show you the creativity that you can do with Retrace the Past to really punish your opponent at the end of a chain link. So my hand, I had a four card hand. It was a 4-card hand. Descendant, Dishonor, Harmony. No, 5-card hand. So my hand was red Descendant Gustwave, blue Dishonor, blue Find Center, and blue Ancestral Harmony. So 3 blues: Dishonor, Find Center, and Ancestral Harmony, and a Descendant Gustwave. In Arsenal was a Whelming Gustwave. So the only starter I have right now is Descendant, which doesn't technically combo, or it does combo. It doesn't combo into anything. Now I got lucky and I hit Retrace the Past on this goldfish line, but let's just say, even for argument's sake, that the Find Center was Retrace the Past, which isn't that hard to draw up. Anyway, I played Ancestral Harmony. I hit Retrace the Past, which then allowed me to go Descendant Gustwave, Retrace the Past, naming Surging Strike. Then I play Whelming Gustwave. Whelming Gustwave sees the Surging Strike. It's now 4 go again, draw a card. One of those has hit at any point in the turn. I discard Find Center because one of them's going to hit. They're not going to block out all those personally, unless they're just throwing their whole hand. But most time, one of them hits. In this situation, they all were coming in for +1 because of Ancestral Harmony. So it was coming in for 4, and then 5, and then 5 on hit, draw a card. One of them hits, go get Bonds of Ancestry, play Bonds of Ancestry, banish the Dishonor that I just discarded to go get, so I hit, Harmony hit with Retrace, Descendant Gustwave, then I play Retrace, naming Surging. Then I discard the Dishonor with the hit, go get Bonds of Ancestry, play Whelming. Then I go, because Whelming sees Surging Strike. Then I play Bonds. Then I play Dishonor. So technically, Dishonor is online because there is a Surging Strike on the chain, there is a Descendant Gustwave, and there's a Bonds of Ancestry. All this was made possible because Retrace the Past was named Surging Strike, which allowed me to restart the combo line, and I got the benefits of both the Whelming line and the full Descendant line with Dishonor. Now, you could even make this simpler and just say that the hand was, Descendant Gustwave, Retrace the Past, Whelming Gustwave, Find Center, and Dishonor, right? It's like you have a semi-natural combo line with Descendant Gustwave and Retrace the Past. And then you just play Retrace the Past, Descendant Gustwave, play Whelming from Arsenal. One of those is going to hit, go get Bonds, then you play Dishonor, right? So what Retrace the Past allows you to do, and the whole point of showing you this was try to use, I originally was trying to figure out how am I going to abuse Retrace the Past and Bonds of Ancestry in the same line. And I kept trying to think of ways to mini loop, and I think there is a way you could do a mini loop, not the degenerate Bonds of Ancestry loops we used to see, but the mini loop of making a Retrace the Past a Bonds of Ancestry again. You could do that, but what I have found is Retrace the Past allows you to kind of just do what its intended purpose was before, which is fuse combo lines, like this. You're able to go to Descendant Gustwave, Retrace the Past, play Surging, Whelming Gustwave, Bonds. What I also could have done there, I could have named a bunch of different stuff. I could have if you have 100 wins in the deck, I could have named 100 wins, went and got 100 wins, played another 100 wins, pop boots, play Whelming, Bonds, whatever you want to do. There's a lot of different things you can do, and try to think of ways of how can Retrace the Past kind of restart my combo mid-chain in order to then push even more on hit effect effects late in the chain. Because what you're going to have to do without Art of War in the deck now is you're going to have to utilize the late chain to really punish the opponent. The early chain kind of means nothing. It's one of those things where it's like, do they want to respect it or not? And if they do over-respect it, then you start to punish them in the late game. But that is the basis of this. Hopefully that made sense. That was kind of like an off-the-cuff goldfish. But the point remains to try to use Retrace the Past to like abuse both gust wave lines. I think that's like step one. If you can learn and find ways to do that, I think you're in a pretty good spot. But so far, I've been sharing this link just in the purple Discord. I mean, even in a couple games, we're doing pretty good. First 10 matches, 7 wins, 3 losses, not too bad. Whatever. It's Talishar, but it's for fun. But definitely give it a try. Make the list your own. Make changes how you want. I'm sure mine's going to change. I'm trying to find room for 1 or 2 lunging presses in the deck. I might end up getting rid of this fine center and probably one. I would say probably 1 harmony. No, not 1 harmony. Probably 1 Winds of Eternity for 2 lunging presses, just to have a little bit more combat tricks in the deck. I do like the fact that lunging press can buff anything that's an attack action, so that's where my head's at. But yeah, definitely take the list, make it yours. Let me know what you think. I'd love to hear it. If you want me to go more in depth on something, please let me know. I'm going to be doing gameplay videos as well. I know a lot of people have been asking for that. The main reason I don't do it is because it's so time consuming, because when I do gameplay videos, I want to play the game and focus on it, not talk through it, and then re-record it and with my voice over top and talk about it. So that takes a while. It's not that I'm not saying it's worth it for you guys. I'm just saying that's why I don't do it. It's because the way I like to do it takes me a while. But definitely let me know what you think. I'd love to hear y'all's thoughts in general on this, and what your general thoughts of Katsu is. Like I said, I definitely think it's a high B tier, but I definitely think the hero is probably if I had to give an arbitrary level, I think the hero is battle hardened level. Maybe a very skilled pilot could top 8 call him, a Pudding or something, Pudding Tom or something like that, or Karma or one of those guys. Really good Katsu players. So definitely give it a shot. Would very much suggest it. But yeah, thank y'all so much for this. Hopefully you like this type of content. I'll be doing more Katsu content in the future. This really helps me, stay engaged in the game. I've been a little bit down in the game, not trying to be overly negative whatsoever, but I just haven't been enjoying it because the heroes I like weren't that good, right? With Huntsman and Katsu, my true heroes that I love playing. But yeah, thank y'all so much. Hopefully y'all have a good rest of your night, and I'll see y'all next time on TC Talk. Thank y'all so much.